Peace and blessings, family. It is yours truly. It's Amar Murray. And as I always started out with, E Kabo, Bawani, eBay. Welcome, how are things, family? That is Yoruba. And I myself personally, I'm taking out my time to learn multiple languages such as Twi, Swahili, and Yoruba. So I wanted to say in Swahili to you, Asante Sana. Asante Sana means thank you very much. So Asante Sana for tuning in. Habari gani? What's the news? What's going on with you? All right, so that's where that goes. And me as being one who may say king, it'd be Ohini. Ohini. Now that's Tri for king. Ohini. Tri. Okay, for king. Twi's Twi. Okay, Yoruba is Oba. Yoruba Oba. Okay, Ohene is Ohene. Oba, Oba. Okay, and that is what that is in Tri and Yoruba for queen, which is, it'll be a K, not a Q, because in those two languages, you don't have any Q. That's the reason why you see queen spelled with a K. So I just want to drop a little knowledge on you on this evening before I begin. That's just the intro for you. Hopefully everybody weekend has went well and still going well. I appreciate you. Peace and love to my Olori, okay, which is queen. All right, in the Yoruba tongue, my Olori. And in the Tri tongue, it would be Ohima, my Ohima. So I want to say thank you to my queen. I greatly appreciate that for you tuning in. Appreciate your love and support. We're going to talk about being under the influence on today. Under the influence. Okay. And what inspired this message is some of the things that I have encountered, dealing with people who are supposed to be conscious, people who are supposed to love their people, people who are family members. We don't get the same love back that we give. Okay. People who you support, but they don't support you. People who you speak to and they don't speak back to you. People who, when they hear you speak knowledgeably about our culture, they'll call you a racist or they call you being negative. Okay. You have to excuse individuals like that because they are under the influence. They are under the influence. Okay. And a lot of our people who attack us about our culture, those who are practitioners of that, which consists of our spirituality and also African traditions, celebrating certain ceremonies, like an Ifa, they have certain ceremonies where they celebrate Oshun and Baba Batala and Baba Shango. They have festivities, okay, even in Voodoo, they have festivities, and I'm talking about, you can use, the energy to do negative things or positive things. So I'm definitely not ignorant to the fact that you still have negative energy forces that's out there. Okay. And this is why I still believe in having discernment, so that way you can be able to decipher what is negative energy and what is positive energy. All right. So for those who conglomerate our spiritual systems and put them all under the umbrella of negative energy, it's because they're under the influence. And what is that influence? Lies. Okay, that's because they don't understand. And people speak ignorantly of things that they do not comprehend. Okay, and also things they do not have information, and I'm going to say accurate information about not just information, because the truth is they do have information, but it's the wrong information. So I had to make sure I'm being very specific about what type of information that I'm talking about. So you also have, certain evidence, okay, infallible facts about things that are contradictive about when you're reading, the Bible, right? I'm not saying everything in there is negative, because I even myself quote certain things from the Bible, which is ancient wisdom. Okay, those things that I do subscribe to is only that which is positive. But anything that man put his hands to, I don't care if it's an African spirituality. You still have to have enough discernment to be able to decipher, what you should embrace and what you should reject. And that is something that I believe that people are under the influence about too, is lies as well, that everything is embraceable. Okay, I don't believe that clitoris mutilation is embraceable. Okay, I don't believe that our women should be treated like second-class individuals. Okay, and so with that being said, those men who treat our women like that in America, throughout the diaspora, okay, or even in the motherland, who treat women ill, they're under the influence of lies. They've been miseducated. Okay, this is the reason why Thomas Sankara and Julius Nyerere fought for the rights of our women. Why? Because the way that they were treated. Okay, and those two individuals, peace and blessings be upon them, our ancestors, they fought for our women to be put back on their thrones within society. Okay, so anybody who thinks that a woman should just sit down and be quiet and be barefoot and bear children and just be cooks, okay, they are under the influence. Okay, they're under the influence of deception. Okay, they've been miseducated and they have the wrong mentality. Okay, if anybody categorizes all men in one category, then they are under the influence of what? Mental trauma. Most men and women that conglomerate all of certain genders in the same category is under the influence of trauma. They've experienced some type of trauma in their life. So that's the reason why they draw those conclusions about the opposite gender due to what they have experienced, right? So this is the reason why we have the type of interaction we have with one another, because of the influence that we're under. This is the reason why a lot of us feel like some of us can't do business right, because why? We're under the influence of lies again. Okay? It all goes back to our mindset. Our mindset is what influences us to have a particular perception about certain topics in life. Okay? So we look at religiosity as something for some of us that is embraceable, but yet others reject it. Why? Because of the influence that one who is savvy to the deception of what has been annotated within certain books, okay, they have been made aware of the inaccuracy, and the errancy of what they're reading. Okay, so a person like those people, okay, who have been persuaded due to their own research, have unsubscribed to certain things because of the information that they have I would say discovered, if you will, for them. They have found, right? Okay, so this is the reason why they reject certain things, because they're under the influence of the truth rather than a lie. So they will not embrace the falsehoods that have been presented to them via religiosity. Okay, let's deal with a fact. Okay. Now, these are two verses. And I'm going to show you the oxymoron. And this is the reason why I say you have to be very careful about what you subscribe to, and that we have to come from under the influence of the lies that has us incarcerated and that dumbs us down and that keeps us from growing spiritually, keeps us from being able to be logical. Okay, now I'm going to read these verses to you very quickly. Okay, and I'm going to let you be the judge of what you hear. All right, now, Leviticus chapter number 18, verse number 21. I'm going to deal with how it's documented that allegedly the creator of the universe told Yisrael not to worship any other gods and not to sacrifice their children by fire to any other god. Now I'm going to show you how this God, the same God that told them not to sacrifice their children to Moloch, this same God turned around, allegedly, according to the story, and told Abraham to sacrifice his son by fire to him. Okay. You shall not give any of your children to devote them by fire to Moloch, and so profane the name of your God. Leviticus chapter number 18, verse 21. Now, Genesis chapter number 22, verse 1 through 3. It talks about Abraham presenting Isaac to be a burnt offering. Now, allegedly, according to the story, Leviticus 18, 21, it says, don't present your children by fire to no other God. Now, what this appears to be to me is an oxymoron. Because what this appears to me is it was okay for them to sacrifice their children to him, to this God, which is a jealous God, okay? But it wasn't okay for them to do it to no other God then except for him. This is the reason why I said you had to be very watchful about what you subscribe to. We have to pardon those who damn us, okay? Those who condemn us, those who cut us off, and we're their family, but because they believe that we're following after demons, negative energy forces, we're deceived, we're cursed, you have to excuse them because they're under the influence of lies of what they've been indoctrinated with. And so this is something that we have to fully understand, and we have to be careful about not allowing ourselves to get caught up in the same manner of spirit that they're in. They reject us, but we shouldn't reject them. You know, I believe in continuing to show love where love is not being shown, and you have to excuse those of us who do not support each other like we should because we're under the influence of selfishness. And this is something that we have been programmed into doing. And this is the reason why a lot of us don't return back to our neighborhoods, because see, a lot of times, sometimes it doesn't seem like people are really teaching on these things. It seems like they're more so complaining about these things, venting about these things, more so than it is really teaching about these things. So I wanted to take out the time for a teaching moment to help you to understand that the reason why a lot of us don't do these things, okay, a lot of us don't think about manufacturing, you know, a lot of us don't think about owning, okay, is because we have not been taught that. Now, it may seem like common sense to some of you that are listening, but it's not so common, okay, amongst our people. That is very evident because of the lack of wealth that's flowing in our community, okay? Now, I know people may say we have 1 point this many trillion dollars, but where is it at? Can you see that 1 point trillion dollars in the community? Can you go down the street and see a car dealership that's owned by one of us? Can you see a food chain that has not been a established food chain that has been around for decades, okay, that we have not bought stock in or bought, into their franchise? Okay, I'm talking about how many franchises do you see? In fact, I was stationed over in Okinawa, Japan. Guess what I seen over there? I seen an A&W over in Okinawa, Japan. I seen a McDonald's over in Okinawa, Japan. Okay? And on the sign, it was written in English, okay, and Japanese. Okay? When I was on the base, guess what I seen? They had a Papa John's. Okay, they had a Domino's. They had a Burger King on base. Now, in this United States, you go to majority of the states and you're going to find a Walmart. Okay? All right? Now listen, yes, I understand we celebrate because we get a piece of the pie, but understand, listen, it's time for us to get the whole pie. But the reason why we don't have the whole pie is because a lot of us are not being taught ownership. A lot of us are not being taught, go get your degree, come back, set up businesses, employ your own. This is the reason why that doesn't exist. And this is the reason why it's a lot of selfishness in our community. Okay, because a lot of us are taught to just do for yourself and don't do for anybody else. Okay? This is the reason why you don't see another lucrative business is construction. How many of us own construction businesses? Other lucrative businesses, electricians, plumbers, engineers, architects. How many judges and lawyers and nurses and doctors, okay, and scientists at that, okay, rocket scientists too, okay? I'm talking about people who making major moves, and yes, you have a footprint in history. What I'm saying is, of course, like, for instance, Benjamin Banneker was one who's involved in science. Okay, George Washington Carver. Okay, the names of our elders and one of our ancestors who Hidden Figures was about them. Okay, wonderful, but it's still only a handful of us. How many of us? Another lucrative business is entertainment. Like, for instance, Tyler Perry just started his. Okay, but look at Tyler Perry. Out of all, you can name all these other producers. Okay, but how many of us have our own entertainment? Okay, I'm talking about, listen, I understand BET, got it. TV1, got it. Okay, I'm talking about multiple. Okay, you could count numerous Caucasian people who have their own television networks. Okay? See, these things, these onesies and twosies are not good enough. It's going to take more than onesies and twosies for us to build our own. And the reason why a lot of us don't think that way is because we're under the influence. We don't think that we're intellectually competent enough for us to be able to do such things. Yes, we have numerous inventors over time, and I understand that some of our patterns were stolen. I got that. Okay, I like to fast forward. Okay, because we're in the now. That was then, we're in the now. I understand there was a Black Wall Street and there was numerous Black Wall Streets. I got that. But we can still have that today. And the reason why we don't see that as much as we should is because we're under the influence of selfishness. We've been programmed to just think about ourselves and just think about our household and not think about the village. And we have to get back to that African mindset where it's about us, it's about we, it's about ours, and it's not just mine's. It's not just me, myself, and I. Okay? And not only that, listen, our only champion, our only celebrate television networks that bring back wholesome programs like the Cosby program. I will only celebrate. Listen, because a lot of times we get celebration going on, right? But we don't check the record about what they're playing on these radio programs. You know, we start celebrating. Oh, we got our own radio program. Yay. But they still playing gangster rap. Okay. We got our own television network. Yay. But they showing homosexuality. Oh, yay. We got our own television network, but they still pushing gangster rap. Yay. We got our own television network, but we got movies that's being played that the only thing it shows is doing is being drug dealers and gangsters and being whores and broken families and things of this nature. So you got to excuse them. Okay, they're under the influence. You got to excuse our brothers and sisters who do these things, who set up these networks, okay, and they play positive things and negative things. Okay, you got to excuse them, they're under the influence. Okay, because they've been programmed to love money more than themselves. You know what I'm saying? They've been programmed to just focus on ratings, subscriptions, followers. Okay, this is the reason why they tell you, oh, don't follow this many people. You got people that's afraid today to follow people, won't even follow people back. You have people that will literally follow you and unfollow you. And some people say, well, you know, no, don't follow all these people. Don't do that because then it'll look like, I'm like, look like what? It don't even make sense what they're trying to say. I don't understand that. I don't get it. If somebody out there who's a marketer can help me to understand that, then please feel free to help me to understand that. But I don't understand why should I not follow an Instagram account, you know what I'm saying? Somebody on Instagram who is disseminating empowering information spiritually, financially, health-wise, okay, and culturally. I don't understand why I shouldn't do that. I don't understand why I should be concerned about I'm following 3,000 people, but I only have 1,000 and so many hundred people follow me. And that's a true story. See, understand, I'm not under the influence of society. See, I don't allow society to dictate to me how I flow. And a lot of us will refrain from supporting those who look African, talk African, dress African. They're African-centered. They will literally ostracize you from fear. And this is the influence a lot of us are under too, is fear. Fear. We're afraid of losing our life, first of all. We're afraid of losing our jobs. We're afraid of losing friends and family. We're afraid. So a lot of us are under the influence of fear, and it seizes us up and keeps us from focusing on our family. See, you got to excuse people who don't understand why you do what you do for us. They're under the influence. You got to excuse them. If they sound like a colonized person, it's because of what has occurred. You see, it's a domino effect. You understand? You know, they was born into that mindset by default. So you got to excuse them because those who are still religious, those who are still under the influence of a colonized mind, they talk like the colonizer, think like the colonizer, dress like the colonizer, act like the colonizer, okay? And will treat you like the colonizer. You understand? So you got to excuse them because they're under the influence. They'll call you a devil. They'll call themselves rebuking you. They'll unfriend you. They'll stop following you. Okay, you can be their family. You can reach out to them and try to unite with them, and they won't even reach back out to you or put forth any effort to get close to you because they're under the influence of lies. And unbeknownst to them, they have been brainwashed to reject their own people, their own family, who is about doing good, but because they've been taught that the wrong that they're doing, you know what I'm saying, the right that they're doing is wrong, but the wrong that they're doing is right, and they don't understand that. You understand? You know what I'm saying? I understand that love will not lead you to treat your family member like an outcast. See, that's what I love about being a spiritual person. That's why I love the fact that I'm no longer under the influence. It set my mind free. You see? See, once I got free from religiosity, and once I got free from being a man pleaser, and once I got free from, you know, trying to entertain, okay, I was able to flow freely in my gifting, and I was able to walk freely in who I am with no regard. Because I'm no longer under the influence. I'm no longer intoxicated by the lies that I have been taught from my childhood even to my adulthood. Because see, I myself personally didn't recognize that I was under the influence because I was born into that way of life. See, that's all I knew. So I can't fault the next man and woman for being in the state of mind that they're in, because I too was in that same condition. I too was in a spiritually dilapidated state. And see, this is the reason why I used to wrestle all the time with what I was taught. But see, what I was taught is when I heard something that was rebelling against what I was taught is right. Okay, I was taught that that was the devil. When really, in all honesty, it was really truly the spirit of wisdom that was actually rebelling against and rejecting the falsehoods that I was being taught. And let me be honest with you. When I was by myself, I wrestled with those things. I wrestled with the things that I was taught from those who were religious that had raised me in no fault of their own, because those before them, it was a religious domino effect. It was a religious, ignorant, influenced mind effect that had flowed down from generations to generations. And because my mind was incarcerated, I couldn't comprehend the fact that I was under the influence. I didn't understand that I was literally out of my mind because I wasn't thinking like an African. So therefore, because of what I had been taught, I had no ability to think like an African, okay, who was not influenced by the lies, because unfortunately I was influenced by the lies. So today, I thank you so much for tuning in. And hopefully this message did something for you on this evening. Is just to get those of you who are becoming conscious, because this is more so a program for those who really are beginners in this walk. You know, like myself, you know, who has been transformed in my mind being a former bishop. Okay. My mind has been transformed because, I had too been one who rebutted against the facts when I first heard it, but subconsciously those things kept coming back to my consciousness. And I appreciate my cousin Yosef for sharing that information with me and just encouraged me to go seek and find for myself. And I'm so glad that I had did that, because had I not did that, then I wouldn't be in the position I'm in today. I would not have been awakened. And I just want to encourage those of you who are out there. I know it may feel very lonely on this path, but it's just like the verse says. It says, straight and narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And there's few that walk on the path of the straight and narrow. There are few that find the truth. Once I really truly found the truth, I'm talking about what really is the truth. Okay, not, what religion says is the truth, but truly the facts that come from the universe, come from the true grand creator. All right, comes from truly the spirit of wisdom. And I was no longer captive anymore to dogma, which is man's opinion that was forced upon me as being a word from the creator. Once I had been liberated from those things, and those things had been severed from my life, and I started being detoxed from those things, it had freed my mind up to start being truly a free thinker. And then I started understanding that, okay, well, they feel this way because they've been brainwashed to think that way. So their viewpoint about those particular things is only because of what they've been taught. And I understand that now, that people live only what they've been exposed to. So it's just like somebody who was raised to be a Muslim, that's going to be all they know. Like I know some people who was literally born in Ifa, so they don't know anything else other than Ifa. That's all they know. I know some people who was born in a family that practice our spiritual systems, okay, and who has the knowledge of self and who raised them in the knowledge of self. Okay, I met a young man who his mother raised him to be vegan ever since he was born. Okay, so that's all that young man knows. He only knows a healthy eating lifestyle. So we live the way we think, and how we think is what we've been exposed to. So we can only think and live what we've been exposed to. You understand? So all of us are under the influence of something. If we be honest with ourselves, this lifestyle, my dear elder brother and sister, and my fellow young people that's out there that has subscribed to your culture, I celebrate you, okay? But do understand, all right, that it's going to take some time, and it's going to be a process, and you're going to go through a purging stage, and you got to be cleansed from these things. And just like it took years for it to get in you, it's going to take you years for it to get out of you. Okay? So I encourage you to stand strong on your moral square. Don't allow anybody to move you. Don't allow people to get you all riled up about certain things. I've done that myself. I'm very guilty about that. And as I began to pray more and began to, face myself, as the Spirit began to speak to me, okay, and I seen myself in prayer, okay, and I seen myself in research. I seen myself in listening to our ancestors and also our elders, some of my peers today, and even some young people who I hear wisdom come out of their mouth. As I began to reflect on various messages, I seen myself in those messages, and I seen some things about myself that needed to be corrected too. Okay? So what I'm telling you is be patient with yourself as well, and learn how to be patient with others, and come to the knowledge and understanding of the fact that we need not to talk like we never been there before. Let us not get amnesia and forget that so once were we at one time in our life. Okay? Let us keep that in mind too. But we also must not negate the fact that we need to share this message after we have become aware. And for those who stick around, wonderful. For those who don't, still love them. Still love them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not offended. I learned not to be offended. I've had people that lied on me. I had people that made assumptions about me. Okay. But you know what I learned? I learned not to get offended, man. I learned to just continue to love. And we have to love with unconditional love, because see, when we become vengeful and vindictive, now we're not walking upright. Okay? Now we're not walking in the spirit of love. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about you like you talking about me. Well, I'm going to treat you like you're treating me. You know, two wrongs don't make it right. And we got to be careful with that eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth thing. Okay, because we, even though we're not religious anymore, we need to still be upright people. And that's not the way we're supposed to do business. We have to have ua pele. All right, but those who don't know what that is a Yoruba word for gentle character or good character. All right. So peace, love, power. Thank you all for tuning in. Queen Mother, thank you for all your comments. Queen Mother Rhonda, we appreciate your continued love and support. We love you. We appreciate you. My queen, love you, beautiful. Appreciate you. Thank you for all your love and support, and everybody else that tuned in, that's out there. Please, if I don't acknowledge you, I just didn't see you. So my spiritual son, Marcus McConnell, hey, love you, son. Lamaris Martin, appreciate you for tuning in. Kate, thank you for tuning in. Olome, I hope I said your name right. Thank you for tuning in. Baba Stevens, thank you for tuning in. Zai Ishmael Manzil, thank you for tuning in. All right, my little brother back in Rochester, New York, Kevin Lamont, if you still out there, thank you for tuning in. My good brother Teddy Sidney, thank you for tuning in. Jeff Martin, thank you for tuning in, big brother. Love you, man. You still there. Love you. All right, my auntie Penny, my grandma Esther Allen, my good sister Vera Oyakesola. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you, sis. Thank you so much for tuning in too. Love y'all. Y'all have a blessed one.